When was the last time that you felt truly alive, so deeply connected to what you're doing that time seemed to just stand still? You get lost in the activity, the thing that you're doing in the moment, and what some people might call a flow state, or it's when you're in your zone and you lose track of time. Well, for a lot of us, those moments are pretty rare. 83% of Americans say that their lives have purpose, but only 25% feel that they have a clear sense of what that purpose is. But what is purpose anyway? Purpose is, in my view, I believe that purpose is like a compass, and that without it, we might wander aimlessly through life, hoping to stumble on the right path for us, where we can feel good and meaning. But with it, we can navigate the storms of life and challenges with confidence and with clarity. It's like, imagine a symphony where every instrument is playing perfectly in tune and playing its own part as a part of a whole. And that's what it feels like, what your life can feel like when you're living with purpose, with and on purpose. It's like living in harmony and resonates through everything that you do. So let's just think about purpose here for a moment. In my pursuit of my own personal development and my own purpose and trying to make meaning of my life, I discovered that purpose could really be broken down into these three elements. And the first one is your personal core values, the very things that are your guiding principles, how you make decisions in your life. The second one is what lights you up and really brings you joy. And then the third thing is your personal strengths, things that you're just naturally good at and that you naturally do, who you naturally are. And where all three of those things intersect and overlap, that's the sweet spot. That's where you can find your innate purpose. It's deep inside of you. I believe that our purpose doesn't have to be this big, grand, philanthropic mission. It might be, but it's more often in the moments of unself-conscious giving, when we're aligned with our values and our strengths. And it's when the appreciation of others shows us that what we take for granted about ourselves really is pretty powerful. It's the things that you just do naturally. You just are. The things you do every day in your everyday life. And that typically we take those things for granted. But trust me, other people around you, people in your life, they really count on you for that. So let's look at this first slide. My own search started at a branding workshop. One of the first things we did was a deep dive into our own personal core values. And based on my lived experiences over my lifetime, it turns out that some of my top core values are nurturing, connection, kindness, fun, and adventure. There were a lot more, but those were some of the top. And I thought, how am I supposed to turn that into a personal brand, make an impact with that? Even though I couldn't deny that these were some traits and principles in my life that really were deeply meaningful and significant for me. But it also confirmed what I was already afraid of, that I'm just a mom. So we can also have aspirational values. I aspired and I hoped that my values would turn out to be like success-minded and stability and organization and self-discipline. And those are things that I aspire to be. But when I look back at my life, the evidence of my life, those didn't show up for me in the same way that kindness and connection and those other things did. What does manifest in my life are my mom traits. And the reality is, next slide, I love momming people. When I look back over the things that I've done in my life, both as a dabbling in entrepreneurship, as an entrepreneur, I owned a gymnastics club and I coached young kids to 16, 17 years old. I was a personal trainer for a couple of years and I coached adults. I taught school for a little while, and I was a mom. So all of those things really allowed me to nurture other people so that they could reach their potential. And when I own that those are the things that really make me me, when I acknowledged that those are the things that made my life bright, and that those really are some of the best moments when someone else says or somehow makes me know that I made a difference for them in their life, that's what really lights me up. So then the next slide, I feel like every personality assessment that's out there, strengths and strengths assessments. For example, the VIA Institute on Character. Some businesses use those for hiring. My top characteristic was appreciation of beauty and excellence. What? How is that going to help me? How is that going to help me make a difference? In the DISC assessment, it turns out that I'm an S, a supportive. And again, in the Myers-Briggs assessment, I'm an INFP, a mediator. And I wondered, how is any of that going to help me make a difference in the world? But in my role as an administrative professional, I get to make sure that my team and the people around me have what they need to succeed in their jobs. I serve as a central hub for all the people around me to count on so that they can do their jobs well, knowing that I've got their back. Kind of like a mom does, right? Turns out that team building is a great strength to have for someone in my position. One of the assessments said zest and courage, approaching life with excitement and energy, and not doing things halfway or half-heartedly, living life as though it's an adventure, feeling alive, and a rich inner world brimming with imagination, empathy and idealism, compassionate nature, a deep-seated desire to understand the human experience. And it makes me smile, makes me chuckle a little inside, because it really does resonate so much with me. It just feels like it's so me. So I tell you all of this using my own story to illustrate how powerful it is to really know that you are uniquely qualified to make your own brand of difference in the world, in your community, in your work, in your family. When you really examine what lights you up, what your core values are, what your strengths are, then you get a more holistic understanding of the genuine, authentic self that is you. And it's really liberating. It frees you up to embrace your purpose and to just simply be yourself. So my purpose now, as I define it, is to nurture others to uncover their potential so that they can embrace their lives filled with meaning, purpose, and joy. And now I've got such clarity around that, and I own it unapologetically. So now I would like to invite you to take a moment to close your eyes and to think about the last time that you felt like you were in your zone, a time that felt so good, so you. What were you doing? Who were you with? Were you outside or inside? Were you alone or were you with a group? And what was your role in that situation? Whatever it was, chances are that memory is tied to your sense of purpose. So now, keeping your eyes closed, picture yourself at the end of your life. You're looking back at all of the things that you've done, all the things that you've achieved and accomplished. What do you hope to see? What do you want to say in your life? What do you want others to say about you? What do you want to have created? Because therein lies the essence of your purpose. I encourage you to take the time to get to know it, to embrace it, and to live it fully and intentionally. Thanks for listening.